No matter the flavor, it all starts with the rim. I'm Kamaron Lockwood with Chowhound, and I'm gonna show you how to rim a margarita glass and keep you from doing it wrong. Everyone loves a good margarita. Not everyone's gonna prefer to have a rim, but I personally think that it can really enhance the cocktail and take it to that next level. So the first thing we're gonna do is start with a kind of a classic margarita build. We're just gonna go with the salt. When choosing your salt, keep it simple. You know, I'll just be a classic kosher salt guy, something that's like a little bit coarse. My one thing that I personally like to stay away from is just using regular iodized table salt. I just feel like it doesn't really have the same mouthfeel. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our glass. There aren't any rules to this, you know, whatever you're gonna be able to fit the build into. I'm just gonna use a Collins glass. Obviously, we don't wanna just take the glass, dip it in the salt, and just have a couple of measly little sad pieces of salt on the rim. That's obviously not gonna work. So we're gonna start by using lime juice with the salt. And the reason why we're gonna use lime juice is because it's an easy way to get a nice even coat of salt. It'll stick. You might see that some people maybe use like a simple syrup or some other type of sugar. I don't personally like to use that because I feel like it makes it really hard to clean the glass afterwards. And you know, nobody wants to have extra work at the end of enjoying what is supposed to be a relaxing drink. So I'm gonna start by just dipping the glass into my lime juice here. And it's as simple as that. I just take it and I give it one little turn here. And depending on how much salt you actually want on the rim, depends on how much you dip it into the glass. You can go a little bit lighter, you could go a little bit heavier. Feel free to get carried away, especially if you're like me and you like to have a lot of, you know, salty savoriness with your cocktails. Try to pour it nice and centered into the glass, making sure not to disturb the beautiful rim we've just sat and made. I'm gonna grab my final touch, my lime wedge, right onto the side of the glass. Salty. So we made the classic with the salt. Now you might find yourself maybe, you know, it's a hot summer day and you wanna make something fruitier, maybe a little sweeter, maybe frozen. The other thing that we can go to is a sugared rim, which is gonna be a little bit finer than the salt. And I think it's really worth pointing out here that when you actually put the salt or sugar or whatever into your vessel, make sure you're not filling it up. It's not something that's gonna get stacked up with too much volume, because you definitely don't wanna have a rim that's just coated down to here, unless, you know, you find yourself wanting a psychotic amount. In that case, have at it. You know, try to keep it a nice even layer, maybe like, probably not even more than maybe a 1/16 of an inch down the glass. It's a sugar rim, not a sugar glass. Same process, it's gonna be a little bit of a different texture, so definitely make sure, and if you do have a vessel and it ends up being a little deeper, just control how far down you push it into. You know, you wanna get a nice little even rim. You want it to look good as well. It's very important that things look good because it's all part of the aesthetic. Once again, a nice pour evenly down the middle, not hitting the sides of the glass, affecting it. What we went with is a little bit of a mango marg. Nice little sweetness. There you have it, sugar rim. Sweet. So we've done a classic salt rim, we've done a little sugary mango variation. Now we're gonna go a little bit bolder. We're gonna use a mezcal, which is the smokier agave spirit. We're going to use tajin, which is complementary. It's a nice smoky, sweet, little bit salty as well. And it's going to be nice and complementary to getting somebody more approachable to mezcal if they've never had it before. It's a really nice way to make a spicier variation of this drink. We're also going to be using some jalapeno in there. You don't have to have the same vessel. Maybe you're in a pinch, maybe you're, you know, at somebody else's house. You can use something that's not gonna spread out too much and you're still gonna be able to get a nice coating on it. And the other thing we're gonna do is, instead of just dipping it in lime juice, I'm just gonna take my wedge. I have a little slit in my wedge and I'm gonna do a half rim for this because it's another way to give somebody that experience, but they also don't have to have that saltiness, that spiciness, that sweetness in every single sip. But we're just gonna take this, I'm just gonna kind of squeeze it, and I'm just gonna do a little bit here. And I'm just gonna take my glass and I'm just gonna kind of just roll it in here, get a nice little coating. That's gonna really enhance the experience and make sure that you've only got one side really committed to that. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my glass, and I'm actually just gonna dump the ice in, because when I added the jalapeno to this, it kind of added a muddling effect when I was shaking it. So I wanna keep all that aroma and oils from the actual jalapeno in the glass, and it'll give it a different texture with the crushed ice. And there you have it, a mezcal marg with jalapeno and tajin. Spicy.